Notes. All right, here we go. 8 a.m. notes. We started talking about light. Now, don't forget, light is going to be an electromagnetic wave. In last unit, we started off and we wrote out this. Just as a quick reminder, all waves carry energy. That is their job. If they do not have energy to carry, they will not move. One more time. If they do not have energy to carry, they won't even move. Why move if you don't have a job to do? If you don't have to get up in the morning to go to school or go to work, well, then sleep in, right? We call that spring break. Hopefully that's what you did a little bit during spring break. Now, that's what waves do. They sleep in when they don't have energy to carry. But all waves are broken up into two groups. You're either going to be a mechanical wave or you're going to be an electromagnetic wave. This unit is going to be over electromagnetic waves. Electromagnetic waves are just so cool that we're still learning, believe it or not, new stuff and coming up with new technology. A new thing that just came out, you know this welding program that we have? They're building the new buildings over here for welding. That's what's behind us in that parking lot. That's the welding building. Now, you think welding's like it's an old trait, right? They have to use welders to make buildings, to come up with metal, to build new frames for whatever it is. Well, my son's a welder. He went to school here at Com. Believe it or not, he was kind of one of my lazy kids. I know I'm recording. He doesn't watch my videos. It's okay. But deep down inside, I had to make him get up and come to work with me every single day. He hated it. He hated driving with work to Mom here every single day. But that's because he had welding classes. He didn't mind though during like his lunch break because he would come over to the office with Miss Wadding over there and he would bug me and go and like get my food out of my back of my office. But either way, he's a welder now. I told him he's wasting his time welding right now. He's like, what do you mean? I make really good money. He does. He almost makes as good money as I do. Not bad for a 21-year-old kid. Or no, he's 23 now, dang it. He's a 23-year-old kid making good money. He travels quite often. Okay, so as a welder, I told him, hey, you're slacking and that's old. That's the boring stuff. Did you know that just recently, I would say about 5 years, maybe about 8 years ago, they actually came up with a new type of welding. They came up with this over in Europe, okay? The Europeans came up with this. They use, get this, welders use gas. They use like neon gas. They use different types of gas tanks. They heat it up super hot, and they make those metals what? Melt together and weld together. You know what the new type of welding is? Using electromagnetic waves, lasers. The newest weld out there now is laser welding. There's only a few, handful of people who really know how to do this really well. Why, Miss Munson? Why come up with laser welding? I'm telling you, electromagnetic waves is just the newest thing out there. I know it's not new because we've had it for quite some time, like light, right? We've had light for quite some time, but we're still learning how to utilize it. So believe it or not, you can go Google this up. It's the newest type of weld, and I told him about this. It's because we are trying to start the process right now, if you haven't heard, to colonize the moon and colonize Mars, okay, and go into outer space. Now, don't get me wrong, we already have the ISS, International Space Station, but we planned to go back into outer space and colonize it. Well, guess what? Out in outer space, you don't have matter. And since we don't have oxygen or matter, then that means we can't really weld a traditional weld in outer space. We can't use that gas and heat it up in outer space. But what could we use in outer space? Electromagnetic waves. Why? Because they don't need a medium to travel. So if we're able to, which they have figured out, to get lasers to weld metals together. Why? We need a group of these people to be these laser welders using electromagnetic waves to go into outer space because we need outer space welders. Can you imagine that? That is the coolest thing. Oh yeah, I weld. Oh, I just got back from welding, doing a weld job. Where at? Oh, the moon. They're like, what? How cool is that? But true story. I'm not even joking. Go fact check me. Please, don't just believe what I tell you or any teacher. Go and fact check them. So the newest thing out there right now is electromagnetic welding using lasers. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Why do we need that? Because we need to go into outer space so we can weld. But again, what is special from electromagnetic waves versus mechanical waves? They do not need a medium to travel, right? And that's what we're on right now. We're on what we call electromagnetic waves, but we do call it either radiation or we call it light. We just simplify it. Seriously, who wants to use that word, electromagnetic waves? That's just a big word. So we call it light or we call it radiation. Remember, there's actually 7 different types, okay? And out of those 7 different types, we have good ones and we have bad ones. What do you mean by bad ones? They can cause cancer. That's pretty bad, right? Your death. And then we have good ones, okay? And guess what? I was watching this TV show because I love reality shows. I love it. So I was watching a reality show, and there was this kid, probably about 12 years old, and he put his cell phone, and the dad said, "Oh, Mom, he's putting his cell phone in his pocket." No, this was recent. It was just filmed last year, right? And so the kid is like 11 or 12, he puts his cell phone in his pocket, or I don't know, maybe in his back pocket. Either way, the dad was snitching on him to the mom. And you know what the mom says? She goes, "You know that's bad for you. You shouldn't have a cell phone in your pocket. It's dangerous to your body." Oh my gosh. We are in 2026, gonna hit 2027, and still people think that cell phones are gonna cause cancer? No. Cell phones uses microwaves, and microwaves are not bad. If it was so bad, believe me, if I was there, I feel like sending this mom who's on this reality show a little email. So did you take out all the microwaves out of your house and you no longer use microwaves too? I mean, come on. But it's really good when we come to class, right, because we learn something. Our cell phones use microwaves so that way we can be able to communicate. Not only here on Earth, but we can communicate in outer space. Now I'm going to keep going. Don't forget, one special thing is that they all travel at the same speed, which is what we considered, or we just call the speed of light. Right now, it's the fastest thing that we know of. Now, I'm going to keep coming over here, and this is where we stopped at, okay? So, wave theory is where we stopped off at. Wave theory. What do you mean by wave theory? Well, we've got these theories when it comes to quote-unquote light or electromagnetic waves. Some people believe one thing, another person or somebody else believes another thing. Now, I will say that unfortunately, there are a few people here in science that they don't get to get credit. And why don't they get credit? They don't get credit because they did not come up with the experiment or the demonstration. But let's go ahead and let's talk about this. We got this guy in the 1600s, and he came up with this theory that light travels as if it was a wave, as in like the ocean wave. About 100 years later, this special guy right here, which is guarantee a quiz question / test question, semester exam as well, Thomas Young. Thomas Young comes along and he performs, and he's able to create, he's the one who gets the credit because he came up with the experiment, that light, which is shine through 2 narrow slits, is observed, and at the other side, it performs, or it does this thing called interference. Remember our old notes? We talked about waves, like for an example, the ocean wave or sound waves, and they can have this thing called interference. What type of interference? Constructive, destructive. Remember those words? And so it says here that on the other side of these 2 little opening slits, see, here's an opening and here's an opening. He said on the other side, light, when it shined on it, it produced wave-like properties, as in the ocean wave, not like a solid. Meaning, it didn't just shine through here and hit this side and shine through here and hit this side. Meaning that if we had like a ball that we were rolling, here's my ball, and if it hit the side over here of the wall, it would just bounce back, right? But if this ball was small enough to go through the opening, it should travel through the opening, go straight, and hit right here in the back. Instead of light shining and hitting straight back here in 2 spots, it actually formed what we call interference pattern. Okay, interference pattern.